Welcome to the News9 Plus Show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. Israeli troops are operating deep inside Gaza City. They're dismantling terror tunnels and Hamas's underground infrastructure. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has again rejected international calls for a ceasefire in Gaza, saying that Hamas must first release all the hostages. Now, the Israeli Defense Forces said they're targeting Hamas infrastructure and the tunnels being used by Hamas operatives. Joining me to talk about these developments is my colleague Maneesh Jha, who's just returned from Israel. Maneesh, a month in Israel in the war zone, what did it feel like? Give us your first thoughts.
First of all, thank you so much because it's very good when you come back to home.
Yeah.
Especially when you are staying in war zone and you never know that what will happen next moment.
Right.
So it's a really very good kind of experience that I am at home. I can meet you. I can see everyone.
We haven't seen you at home, Maneesh, in a long time. You were there, what, 6 months in Ukraine and now 1 month?
6 months I was in Donbass.
Right.
And mostly around 8 months I spent while covering the Russia-Ukraine war.
Right.
And when I come back, and then I was in Israel for 1 month. So I'm the only right now Indian journalist who spent 30 days.
30 days in Israel. So Maneesh, since you're one of the very few people I know who's covered 2 active conflict zones, what's the difference between what you saw in Israel and what you saw before that in the Russia-Ukraine war? How are these 2 conflicts different?
Yeah, it's a really good thing because we must understand that both are linked, and what is the difference between both this war. If you compare with Russia-Ukraine war and Israel-Hamas war, the basic thing is today the war is, you can say it's a war of revenge.
A war of revenge?
War of revenge.
The Israel war is a war of revenge.
Israel-Hamas war. The kind of brutality, cruelty, or the no respect about the international law you can see in this war. While why I'm saying this, because there is some reason. If you remember the Russia-Ukraine war, when it was started, the 6 month even the Russian soldiers were not ready to do any kind of inhuman or cruel activity with Ukrainian soldiers.
Right.
Even they were not ready to fire with them because they feel that the both are the Slavic race, and we shouldn't, because of the US we are fighting. So there was some feeling about the enemy side, but here the situation is different. Here the both sides were actually, because of the hate and because of whatever you say, the insecurity, everything. So everything was there, and that's why they want to destroy completely. So that's why we saw what kind of brutality was there on 7th of October. At the same time, right now when the Israel is doing air strike, so if you ask Israeli people that something is happening in Gaza and hundreds of children and civilians are dying, thousands of civilians are dying, and they don't care. Why they don't care? Because they have some kind of revenge, they have some kind of, they are angry actually. But this is the reaction of IDF, this is the reaction of Israeli people. But at the same time, if you see, since today IDF said that we are not fighting only for 7th of October. Now we are fighting that the incident like 7th of October should not be repeated. And if you are saying this, it means that the doors are open. Then the threat can come from Jenin, threat can come from Hebron, from any West Bank area. So what next? After Gaza, you will.
So it will be. Is this a kind of a new policy of the Israeli government? You think that's being outlined now as we speak? That the kind of response to terrorism is going to be very severe.
See, actually, this problem we all, as we all Indian, always believe that there is any good terrorism, bad terrorism. So the point is when we are saying that 7th of October is different and 7th of or 8th October onwards is different. That is not correct. That is not correct. Right now what is happening, Israel is only talking about 7th of October and the rest of the world is talking about 8th of October and onwards. That's, this is not the solution.
Yeah.
I'm totally agree with the President Obama when he says that it's a very complex issue. What I believe as a correspondent, as a journalist who spent one month in Israel, and I was in Russia, Ukraine. So what I believe, after 7th of October, suppose just for the sake of the argument that Qatar and Turkey had said that okay, this is very, this is not acceptable thing. So let's hand over to Ismail Haniya to the Israel.
Right.
Maybe that the thousands of people have been saved.
Right. Okay.
But that was not happened. When Hamas, after Hamas attack, obviously, Israel, you have already visited so many times Israel. So after Hamas attack, each and every person in Israel as well as all the Jews around the world, they are scared. They decided that we have to do something, and we have to do something. Once they decided, after that it was a political decision that let's wipe out the Gaza, and what they are doing right now.
Hamas, you mean they wipe out? Let's wipe out Hamas. Yeah. That's what they are going after.
See, they are saying that let's wipe out the Hamas.
Right.
But if you go to the North Gaza,
right.
You remember when I came back from the Russia, Ukraine, and then I had mentioned to you that when I was in Mariupol, Mariupol was a big town, and there was not a single building where you can sit and have a cup of tea.
Oh, they're all completely bombed out.
Everything was bombed out. The same thing is North Gaza right now.
In North Gaza.
North Gaza, most dense populated area. Right now, I don't think that there will be one building where the people can spend one night.
Right.
So it means that you are saying that I am going to wipe out Hamas, but basically.
So what about this sentiment in Israel right now? It's a very complex situation with the hostages, and the fact that the hostages have been hidden by Hamas, possibly in the tunnels. Are the Israelis not aware of the fact that it could actually, harm the hostages, the kind of bombing that's been going on and the rescue operations also? How complicated is it? Yeah,
they are aware actually. This is the unique feature about the Israeli, that every person knows that what is the risk. And yes, the friends and families related to the hostages, they are doing some kind of demonstration. They don't like to say that we are protesting our government, but they are saying that we are doing demonstration, and just in front of the headquarters of Israeli army, just in front of. Even it was really a very touchy moment when I visited one place, and the place name was the Hostage and Missing Square.
Right.
And the hundreds of people are continuously sitting since
paying tributes, like maintaining vigil.
Yeah, and they are demanding that let's exchange all the prisoners to each other. Right. Obviously, they are worried. They are worried, but at the same time, they are saying they understand that what is the great interest for the country, for the society, for the Jews.
Of course.
And
in fact, my colleague Deepak Badana put together this explainer on the hostage situations, the biggest hostage crises that we've seen in the last couple of decades. Let's watch.
Hostage situations usually involve the promise of freeing captured individuals in return for the fulfillment of demands. Now, these demands may be political or even ideological. Unfortunately, such incidents have been witnessed all over the world. And whether the demands are fulfilled or not, the results are hardly to anyone's satisfaction. Today, News9 looks at some of the most high-profile hostage situations from the past 50 years. In 1979, 66 Americans were taken hostage at the US Embassy in Tehran by Iranian militants following an attack on the embassy. Efforts to secure their release failed, and 52 hostages remained captive for 444 days. On November 17, 13 hostages were released, and one was released due to an illness, leaving 52 captives. In April 1980, a US rescue mission failed, resulting in the deaths of 8 American service members. This incident led to the resignation of US Secretary of State Cyrus Vance. In September 1980, Iran established a new government, and negotiations for the hostages' release intensified. The hostages would finally be freed on January 20, 1981, shortly after Ronald Reagan's inauguration as the new US president. In 1976, Palestinian and German terrorists hijacked an Air France flight, taking it to Entebbe Airport in Uganda. They held 248 passengers and 12 crew members hostage, separating Jewish and non-Jewish passengers. The hijackers aimed to secure the release of Palestinian militants imprisoned in Israel and prisoners in other countries. Later, 148 non-Israeli hostages were released and flown to Paris, leaving 94 passengers, mostly Israelis, and the Air France crew as hostages. In response, Israel launched Operation Thunderbolt on July 4, 1976 to rescue them. Israeli commandos flew 4,000 kilometers to Uganda, successfully rescuing 102 hostages in 90 minutes with 3 casualties. The hijacking of Indian Airlines flight IC-814 occurred on December 24, 1999. 5 hijackers from the Jaish-e-Mohammed group took control of a plane en route from Kathmandu, Nepal to Delhi, India. The flight had 178 passengers and 11 crew members. The hijackers demanded the release of 3 imprisoned militants, including Masood Azhar, and a $200 million ransom. After negotiations, the Indian government agreed to release the 3 militants, meeting the hijackers' demands. In the Moscow theatre hostage crisis of 2002, Chechen militants held more than 850 people hostage at the Dubrovka Theatre in Moscow, Russia, from October 23 to October 26, 2002. After initially releasing some hostages, the situation deteriorated and hostages were shot. Russian special forces eventually stormed the theatre using noxious gas to incapacitate the militants. But unfortunately, some hostages also perished due to the gas. Over 150 people died in the operation, including the hostage takers and up to 200 audience members. In January 2013, militants in Algeria affiliated with an Al-Qaeda-linked brigade led by Mukhtar Belmokhtar seized the Tiganturin gas facility in Amenas. They took hundreds of hostages, including Algerians and foreign nationals, with initial reports suggesting around 800 hostages. The Algerian Special Forces launched a rescue operation after 4 days, resulting in the deaths of at least 39 foreign hostages and 1 Algerian security guard and 29 terrorists. A total of 685 Algerian workers and 107 foreign workers were freed, while 3 terrorists were captured. Much like these incidents, the October 6 attack on Israel by Hamas too saw the taking of hostages. So far, Hamas has not yet made clear its demands. Even at this very moment, over 200 hostages lie imprisoned in Gaza. What their fate will be, only time will tell.
Deepak, what do you think the challenges that are facing the IDF right now, of a magnitude that boggle the mind compared to all these other previous operations that you mentioned, the hostage situations? But interestingly, one of those videos that the IDF released, I saw a pair of dogs in the footage, and this is something that you've been covering very closely. The Belgian Malinois. Tell us about why they make such good tracking dogs.
So the Belgian Malinois has become a favorite of special forces across the world today. Earlier generations would use, say, German Shepherds or the Doberman or Rottweilers.
Yeah.
Hollywood movies show plenty of cases like that. But the Belgian Malinois has certain advantages. So to begin with, it's a smaller, lighter dog. That means it can fit in smaller spaces, say helicopters or a tank or a jeep. It also needs, less upkeep. Then there's the fact that it's incredibly intelligent and highly aggressive and very confident, which means that it is very easy for it to get accustomed to new surroundings.
Right.
For instance, say there is a place which is being shelled.
Yeah.
So a Belgian Malinois will be comparatively, it'll take less time to get accustomed to that compared to, say, your traditional German Shepherds or other working dogs.
Right.
So that's another advantage. The third thing is, and which is the most important factor, why animals such as dogs are being used in warfare. So the idea is to minimize human casualties. Yeah. What happens in particularly, say, urban combat, where death could lurk at every corner or behind every door. Yeah. And it's the defendant who is at an advantage. Right. So here the dog is sent as part of the first wave. Yeah. And the ferocity and the speed with which the animal attacks is often enough to shock and awe the enemy. Yeah. Which is where the dogs come in handy.
Manish, did you see any dogs from this Ockets unit? The Israelis have a dog unit called the Ockets. Did you see them deployed?
I've seen few dogs while they were moving towards the Gaza. So I was able to see those dogs, and we have recorded actually, I think that in the camera also. So there were the dogs and they were moving. Obviously, other than attacking army, you have to search for the bodies.
Yes,
also.
yes.
After 7th of October, there were so many bodies.
Right.
You see that the German girl was found after 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
So still they believe that there are so many Israeli bodies
which are yet
Gaza
to be recovered
or somewhere.
Of course.
At the same time, since you have to go into the tunnel, and then you have to find the hostages also.
Yes.
So that maybe that will be helpful. Although it's really surprising that they have all kind of technology, all kind of the advanced technology equipments, but still they believe.
Right. Meanwhile, let's not forget Iran's proxies, Maneesh. The Houthis just shot down a high-altitude, long-endurance drone, MQ-9B. And this is a drone that's of great interest to India because that's something that we are buying from the United States. I, in fact, put together this short video explaining why the MQ-9 is such an important asset. Let's watch. The Houthis have shot down a US MQ-9 Predator drone off Yemen. This is significant because it's the first time a non-state actor has shot down a sophisticated military drone. The Houthis are non-state actors supported by Iran. They possess cruise and ballistic missiles and, as we now know, surface-to-air missiles as well. HALES, high-altitude, long-endurance drones like the MQ-9 carry a mix of extremely sophisticated sensors and weapons. The MQ-9 has two versions, the Sea Guardian and the Sky Guardian. The MQ-9B is also called the Predator B. It first flew in 2001. Let's look at its capabilities. It has a takeoff weight of nearly 2 tons. That's roughly the weight of a Second World War fighter aircraft like the Spitfire. It has an endurance of around 40 hours, which means almost 2 days. It can stay airborne for almost 2 days. It has a wingspan of 20 meters. That's the length of a cricket pitch. And it's controlled by 2 pilots who sit in a ground control station and steer the drone via satellite. Each MQ-9 costs upwards of $30 million or over 250 crore. Of course, this varies with models and the kind of equipment that is fitted in it. The US operates over 300 such drones, and it sold it to around 7 other countries, mainly friendly foreign countries who are very close US allies. It's got a very sophisticated multi-spectral targeting system, the ANDAS-1, which is literally the eyes and ears of this aircraft, and that's what makes it so formidable as a HALE. Now, this electro-optical infrared pod is used for long-range surveillance, high-altitude target acquisition, and laser designation. The MQ-9B carries a payload of over 2 tons. That's equal to the weight of the drone itself. It has up to 9 hardpoints, and depending on the mission profile, it can carry an array of bombs, air-to-ground missiles, air-to-air missiles, and even sonar buoys for hunting submarines. The US has used the MQ-9B in several combat theaters in Asia and Africa over the last 2 decades, mainly for carrying out drone strikes. The MQ-9B, for instance, was used to assassinate Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in Baghdad airport in 2020, and in 2022, the US used it to assassinate Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri. The Indian Navy has operated 2 leased MQ-9Bs since 2020. These are unarmed versions of this platform, and they are primarily used for maritime surveillance in the Indian Ocean and Arabian Sea. India plans to acquire 31 MQ-9Bs from the United States, 16 Sky Guardians for the Army and the Air Force, and 15 Sea Guardians for the Indian Navy. So clearly we'll be looking at the MQ-9 and this particular shoot down because of the kind of scenarios that they can be deployed in. Can they be deployed in a high threat air defense threat area? Clearly not from the from the looks of what we've been seeing over here. But Maneesh, are you surprised that the Houthis had surface to air missiles?
See, nowadays, first of all, and destroying MQ-9 it's really a big event.
Yes.
Nowadays, because since the F series of kind of fighter jet from F-16 to F-35,
right.
after that the MQ-9 drone is the new weapon for the US.
Yes.
It's the image of the US. We are also buying, and then Houthi can destroy it.
Yeah.
So you can see that what is the fight between the superpower and the rebel kind of thing.
Absolutely.
But
in fact, the proliferation of man-portable surface-to-air missiles since the 80s have enabled non-state actors to threaten low-flying aircraft and helicopters. The Houthis have an arsenal of cruise and ballistic missiles, but they have two different types of surface-to-air missiles in their inventory. The SA-2 and a previously unknown loitering SAM called the 358 missile. Now, Iran's proxies are clearly signaling that they can't be taken lightly. From the Gaza Strip, we move to the national capital, New Delhi, which is facing a different kind of emergency. New Delhi continues to top the list of the world's most polluted cities for nearly a week in a row. Schools are shut, and that's the first sign of the crisis at hand. I'm joined now by Mr. Chandrabhushan, one of India's foremost environment and climate change experts. Mr. Bhushan, welcome to the News9 Plus Show.
Thank you for having me here.
And very trying times that we are in. Delhi is witnessing a kind of climate emergency that we haven't seen in several years. What's causing this? Why is it so severe this time around? Why is it so bad this year?
Sandeep, it's a combination of factors. First of all, this is really a prolonged period of hazardous air quality. I'll not call it as severe because AQI levels are near 600, 700. Some of the monitoring stations have shown AQI of about 900.
Off the charts.
Off the charts completely. So it's a prolonged period of severe air quality. I'm not sure that we are going to see good air quality during Diwali or post Diwali. The primary factor right now is stubble burning, which has pushed air quality from, say, very poor to hazardous.
Right.
In Delhi, during winters, because of meteorological condition, air quality is generally very poor. So the background air quality is very poor.
It's already quite poor, and then you have this additional stubble burning.
Spike, the sudden spike, which happens for about 30 days, where we burned about 20 million tons of biomass.
20
million tons of biomass. In Punjab, primarily, Haryana, Rajasthan, also Western UP.
Right.
So it's a huge amount of material we are burning in a very short period of time. If Delhi is unfortunate and the wind direction is on our side, basically we get swamped by this smoke. So the primary factor right now, so maybe about 40% of air pollution in Delhi right now is because of stubble burning. Now the other issue that is there is that this is also a period where in general in India, we use large amount of biomass for cooking and heating.
Right.
Now, heating fuel also we use during winters. Now, biomass burning also happens in each and every house, which is using biomass. Over a period of time, we have reduced by distributing LPG, but still biomass is a major source of cooking fuel in the country. Right. So, primarily, biomass alone, whether in household or stubble burning, is accounting for more than 50-60% of pollution. Then you have vehicles, which is there, industries. NCR has a lot of industries that contribute to pollution. So you add all of these and the numbers are not surprising.
Right.
With meteorological condition which is adverse, this is what you're likely to get.
It's a deadly cocktail of causes that you just mentioned.
Yes.
How do measures like odd, even, does that work?
They don't. And the reason is pretty simple. Automobile, the contribution of automobile, and I'm specifically talking about PM 2.5,
right,
which is the pollutant.
The deadliest of the pollutants.
The deadliest and of concern, and we generally breach all the norms for PM 2.5 and PM 10, particulate matter of size below 2.5. Automobile only contributes about 10%, maximum 15%.
Right.
Now, when you introduce odd and even, you're not restricting all the vehicles, by the way. We allow two-wheelers. We only stop cars. And therefore, the impact of vehicle restriction measures like odd and even, maybe 2%. Now think about when your level is already 600, 700, how does 2% reduction matter?
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
So if the average Delhiite is smoking 1 pack of cigarettes, how many cigarettes less would a motor car, or even
maybe 1/10 of a cigarette?
1/10 of a cigarette. That's it. So it's purely cosmetic, as the Supreme Court also noticed.
Absolutely, and everyone knows this. Talk to a researcher who works on air pollution in Delhi or anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And they will tell you that the past episodes when we have used odd and even, in fact, there was no impact on the air quality.
Right.
So, in fact, the GRAP measures, if you take all the GRAP measures together, I will say that stopping construction, stopping DG set, stopping vehicles, entry of vehicles that we do under gradual, response action plan, they all are cosmetic. Because they in totality will not even, if we implement GRAP with all seriousness, we will not be able to reduce pollution even by 5-7%.
Right. So GRAP is another big cosmetic
it is.
Measure that's being taken.
Think about it, Sandeep. When GRAP 3 came, actually pollution kept increasing.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Then we had to go to GRAP 4.
Right.
Okay. Pollution has not come down.
Right.
So there has to be something else.
Yeah.
It's common sense.
Right.
Okay. So I don't think that the GRAP measures are effective. The single most important thing that will ensure that Delhi air quality doesn't reach a hazardous level is stubble burning.
Right.
And the single most important thing which will ensure that India as a whole, Mumbai, you come from Mumbai, that the air quality is now an issue in Mumbai as well.
Right.
Across the country, if we want to reduce air pollution, it is an all India issue.
Yep.
We will have to make sure that we reduce biomass.
Right.
Single most important factor which will reduce air pollution across the country, including India, including Delhi, is reducing biomass. So stubble burning, biomass, and you will see significant improvement in air quality.
So biomass is a single, like you so correctly pointed out, it's the single biggest thing
source of pollutant.
Source of pollutant, the spike.
Yeah.
So if you reduce this, you're saying that we can have, if not hazardous, but it wouldn't be this bad. It wouldn't be 500 plus.
Yeah, it wouldn't be this bad. And also heating fuel.
Yeah.
See, we now have data for past 20 years on transition in cooking and heating fuel in India.
Yes.
I must say that since 2011,
it's almost 2 decades.
2001 to 2021, we have data now.
Yeah.
Since 2011, we have made a major transition in cooking fuel in India.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Ujjwala scheme,
Yes.
city gas network, all these things have helped. But still about 500 million people in India use biomass for cooking.
Yeah.
And heating is about 850 million people.
Right. So there's a very sizable chunk of our population that's still burning biomass.
Biomass for cooking and heating.
Right.
And we have agreed, we have actually promised that under Sustainable Development Goal that we will reduce biomass use to zero, provide every household clean cooking fuel by 2030.
By 2030.
If we meet that goal, that will be the single biggest action on air pollution.
Right. But and what really prevents the policymakers, the governments from tackling this problem like you mentioned?
One is affordability.
Right.
There are a lot of people in India who cannot afford LPG.
Right.
Okay.
And the cost of the
LPG.
transition to LPG is that much higher.
That much higher. So there we need to support.
Right.
We need to provide incentives. But the benefits of cooking fuel shift is massive. Think about the health impact on women.
Right. Of course.
Who's using
in the chulas,
the chulas. Their health is is destroyed.
Right.
Think about the amount of time a girl child especially, wastes in collecting biofuel. Her education is gone.
Right.
So I think as we develop, as India becomes a prominent economy, I think the indicator for us to be called a developed country would be if we can provide clean cooking and heating fuel to every household.
Right.
And that will also reduce air pollution.
Right, interesting. And we have the story on Delhi's very hazardous air quality put together by my colleagues Anthony, Sanu and Lakshana. Let's watch.
Life begins at first breath. We take a breath every 3 seconds. A normal adult breathes 12 to 20 times per minute. That's approximately 23,000 breaths in a day. What if every breath you take kills you?
I'm Qazi Riaz. I'm originally from Nagina, which is in western part of Uttar Pradesh. I've been in Delhi for about 14 years.
Wear your mask. Let's go out. Okay. Jump. Mama mask.
यार ने भी पहना है. Okay, good girl. Let's go. Come. Let's go.
Like the immediate impact on their health is very visible on the very first day when the haze was there. Both the kids were infected and they had allergies. They can have ailments all throughout their life from this short exposure. That scares me even more because like right now they'll just get cured and we'll feel okay about it, but then these particles they get absorbed into your lungs, and some of them have carcinogenic properties as well. So that's really concerning. I mean, I feel really scared. Like it's not just that as a parent I want the best for my kids, but this is something beyond my control and it really worries me.
There's better livelihood here, there are better schools here for your children, but if health is the price that you're going to pay for a longer time, it's a bad trade-off.
So, Mr. Bhushan, give us 5 steps that we need to, handle on a priority in the next couple of months to ensure this doesn't happen again.
First priority, we must ensure that the stubble burning as a practice is eliminated.
Right.
Okay. We should not tolerate it. There is no economic, social, or environmental reason to continue with stubble burning.
Right.
This wasn't a practice 20 years back.
Right.
This practice of stubble burning has only started in last 10-15 years.
Right.
So this is a new practice.
Yes.
And we must use both incentives and disincentives to stop stubble burning.
Right.
It is destroying the soil of Punjab, the environment of Punjab. Leave Delhi right now. As a state itself, wherever stubble burning is prevalent, it is destroying the health of people, soil, environment, economy. So it is an interest of these states to ensure that these are eliminated. And I don't think the costs of stopping stubble burning is very high. If we can give, say for example, an extra 100 rupees per quintal to a farmer, that is the extra cost the farmer needs, extra money the farmer has to spend to manage stubble without burning it, it will be done. So we are talking about 2,000 crore rupees, which is nothing.
Which is nothing
compared to the health
right,
impact.
Of the citizens.
Think about millions of people who are going to spend money on medicine and hospitalization, reduce life. So 2,000 crore every year is the cost that is there in terms of just giving it to farmer and saying, listen, we are giving it to you to manage stubble. If you keep burning stubble, we are not going to buy your crop.
Right.
So both incentive and disincentive should be used to stop this practice. And I can tell you, Sandeep, this itself will make sure that we do not go through what Delhiites have gone through, or for that matter, the entire NCR has gone through in last 10-15 days. Number 1 priority. Number 2 priority, we have 7 years, and I'm saying this cooking fuel transition and heating fuel transition will not happen tomorrow.
Right.
We have 7 years of progressive and accelerated work to make sure that we have, cooking fuel which moves to cleaner fuel. Third, industries. industries contribute about 30% of particulate matter. And therefore, and especially medium and small size industry. Larger industries have resources to put adequate pollution control equipments. But as far as small, medium scale industries are concerned, we will have to make sure that we monitor them well and we reduce. Number 3. Number 4, transport sector. We are already moving to electrification. We should accelerate that electrification. And then number 5 is make sure that construction activity, greening of the cities, these are done. These are only 5. In fact, these are the only thing that any country in the world has done.
Right.
Okay.
Name one country that's actually done this successfully and got
Every country in the world has gone through poor air quality.
Right.
Remember the smog of London in 1950s.
Of course.
What was the cause? Coal.
Coal.
They were using coal, burning coal in houses.
For heating and
we are doing that with biomass.
Right.
Okay. Think about California. In 1960s and 70s, Los Angeles you couldn't see the kind of smog that we are talking
of course,
about.
Legendary smog.
Legendary. Think about polluting Beijing before Olympics.
That's correct. Pre-2012.
So how is it that these cities have cleaned themselves?
Right.
They have done exactly 5, I am telling you. They have made sure that solid fuel is out, biomass or coal.
Right.
They have made sure that industries are controlled, industrial pollution is controlled. They have made sure that automobiles are clean, that the city is green. These are the only tools that we have.
Right.
And in addition, we have a stubble burning, which we have to eliminate.
Could you look into the crystal ball and tell us if in the in the next couple of months, if we don't implement these measures that you've so correctly pointed out, how much worse is it going to get?
See, I can tell you right now that till 15th November, we will really have bad air quality because stubble burning will only start going down after 10 or 15.
Right.
Okay, whatever number government gives out, it's fine. Those are count of farm fire.
Right.
Which is actually also not a right indicator. What we should be measuring is land, the amount of land that is being burnt.
Right.
Instead of just counting
the number of incidents. Right.
We should be measuring the land area.
Of course.
Okay, which is called as burnt area.
Right.
We should be measuring burnt area. So even our indicator of capturing farm fire is actually not very good.
Right.
So I'm not expecting air quality to improve significantly till 15 November. After that, I do expect air quality to go down, to improve.
Right.
From beginning of December, then outdoor heating will start.
Right.
When people will burn garbage and solid fuel to keep themselves warm.
Right.
Then again, you will see a spike in air pollution in December.
Right.
So we might have, between say 15th November till 15th December, some reprieve.
Right.
Well, it will still be unhealthy.
Yeah.
But that reprieve we will have. Then again, air quality will deteriorate. And therefore, I have, my article should be out in a couple of days where I have said that if Delhi government is really serious about reducing air pollution, it should ensure that outdoor burning for heating is eliminated in the city.
Right. How much of a contributor to pollution is that?
It could be as much as say 15-20%.
Right. Far in excess of this
or everything else
automobile
that we are talking about.
Right.
So if we can, and people burn biomass or garbage for heating because they cannot afford cleaner option.
Right.
Say an electric heater.
Yeah.
Therefore, and Delhi government has money. They have collected huge amount of pollution cess from trucks in the couple of years. From trucks entering the city, and that money is still lying with the Delhi government.
Right.
They should use it to ensure that this practice is eliminated.
And going further south, Mumbai is grappling with pollution. Now, this is a city that you never imagined would have a severe air problem, and because the sea is there, you have the breeze that actually acts like a vacuum cleaner. How did Mumbai fall into this bad air?
Two reasons. One, there is a shift in weather condition, meteorology in Mumbai, which is not allowing a lot of wind to get out of Mumbai.
Right.
Mumbai is also surrounded by hills. So if the wind doesn't come from hills to the sea, the pollution remains in the city. Okay,
so it's trapped in the city.
It's trapped in the city.
Right.
So in a way, Mumbai's problem is also similar to Delhi if the wind is not blowing in the right direction.
Right.
Okay. The other problem in Mumbai is that there is massive number of industries. So industries in Delhi, whereas stubble burning would be a primary source of pollution, in Mumbai it would be industries and construction.
Right.
Massive number of industries surrounding Mumbai, and plus construction, which is happening at a rapid pace. There is no control on dust.
Right.
And plus Mumbai also has problem of forest fire on its outskirts, in the Western Ghats. So these are some of the things which is happening. The other big problem in Mumbai is fire in their landfill site.
Right.
You invariably hear the news that the landfill site, which is a massive landfill site they have, is on fire most of the time, which also contributes to pollution. The other issue is that I don't think that Mumbaikars have woken up to the air pollution as Delhiites have.
Right.
Okay, so there is also no demand for cleaner air quality in Mumbai, and that awareness has to come.
That awareness has to come. Mr. Bhushan, we can only hope for these measures to bear fruit very soon, because like you said, we are sitting on a ticking time bomb, and it's only a matter of time before things go really south from here. But thank you so much for your insights into Delhi's critical air pollution. Thank you for joining us. Bollywood has recovered its mojo. It's the industry's most successful year in decades, with blockbusters like Gadar and Jawan. The winning trend is for multiverse movies like the Marvel comic universe. And the newest installment from the YRF Spyverse, Tiger 3, releases shortly. We'll leave you with this glimpse of our story, coming soon on News9 Plus. Thanks for watching.
चीफ, अभी एक और शिपमेंट अनलोड होना बाकी है।
ड्रग्स का पैसा खून की तरह होता है, सारे सिस्टम में दौड़ता है। तुझे क्या लगा तेरा सिस्टम तुझे बचाएगा? तेरे सिस्टम ने ही तुझको मुझे बेच दिया है।
जब तक टाइगर मरा नहीं, तब तक टाइगर हारा नहीं। दम है तो हमें रोक के दिखा। पठान अभी भी जिंदा है, इस सिस्टम को तेरे जैसों से बचाने के लिए। हमें और बैकअप चाहिए, एक है जो संभाल लेगा।
Hello?
Bro, my Twitter is buzzing. What's happening with this film?
Bro, you aren't ready for this. Two universes have collided. I can't believe how this entire multiverse concept is just getting bigger and better with every Indian film.
Okay, but where do I book it?
Oh, it's time now, bro. Interval is over. Trust me, it's epic. You have to watch this.